Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General Amos, I wish I had the words to adequately thank you for what you've done for our Marine Corps and what our Marine Corps does every day for our country, but suffice to say we appreciate it a great deal. And Admiral Ruffhead, I've known you for years, and I know your heart for and service to our Navy, and we thank you. And, Mr. Secretary, thank you for being here today. One of my big concerns is when you look at the recent review by the Quadrennial Defense Review Independent Panel, which, as you know, is a bipartisan panel made up of some very talented individuals, it concerns you when you hear the word train wreck associated where they think we're headed with the recent QDR. And they mention specifically the Navy and the need for us to grow the Navy. And then it concerns me when we see the Secretary of Defense coming in, as he did last year, talking about the shipbuilding plan and saying that the out years of the shipbuilding plan are simply a fantasy. As you know, our shipbuilding plan, when we're looking at how many ships we're going to have, both short-term and down the road, it's a pretty simple calculus. It's the number of ships we plan to build added to the number that's going to be in our fleet, less what we decommission. OMB disagrees with the number of ships that, as you know, that the Navy projects. They think we're headed towards 270 and not in the 300s. But suffice that, or just put that aside for a moment, I'm concerned about the ships we have in our fleet and specifically the estimated lives of those vessels because, as you know, two things have happened. One, we've used them a lot more than we anticipated. But secondly, we know that we have had just in 2 fiscal years, FY10 and I mean 2010 and 2012, we've had $567 million of deferred maintenance. When will we receive a revised assessment showing not the initial estimated lives of those vessels, but the current estimated projections of the life expectancies of those vessels? Is that in the works at any time for us to get?
Congressman, if I could address one little part of the earlier statement. Yes. In the QDR review that was conducted, as you said, by some very distinguished Americans looking at that, they came up with a number of ships for the Navy that was higher than our plans get us in the early 2020s, which is in the 325 ship range. The major difference, though, is in the way they counted ships. We do not count certain support ships that they did count. And if you count apples to apples in those two documents, we're very close to where they think we need to be in the early 2020s. In terms of maintenance, we are very concerned because, as the CNO says, the Navy resets in stride. Maintenance is our reset. And we are concerned that all our ships reach the total lifespan that we expect of them. The CNO has established for each class of ship an engineering-based maintenance plan so that they will reach the end of their lifespans. We are moving sailors from shore afloat. 2,200 sailors will go into the fleet for optimum manning of our ships so that more maintenance, so more preventative maintenance will occur on a routine basis. 400 sailors are moving to the pier for intermediate maintenance so that as ships come in for their scheduled maintenance calls, those maintenance calls are more valuable and make more of a difference.
Mr. Secretary, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm losing my time.
But because of these things that we are doing, we think that the ships are going to reach the end of their scheduled life. And that's, it was a long answer, and I apologize for that. But
I appreciate the answer. The other question I have for you is, we know that we've had officials from the Navy talking about doing a new force structure assessment to look at if that number is correct or not correct. And I'm always concerned when we talk about getting strategy but limiting based on physical realities. How can we be confident that when that assessment is done, we know the part of it that's strategy versus the part of it that's being driven simply by budgetary concerns?
Well, Congressman, the force structure review of the number of Navy ships, which is underway and which will be completed soon, we're basing it all on what we need. on strategy. But we are also very mindful that we need to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money, that we try to make use of every single dollar that we get, so that we can get to the number of ships. But this is a bottom-up strategic review that's not budget-driven but mission-driven.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.